our team is very excited about the interview. They're already.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. So this is a streaming one. They can listen to it on
Facebook.
On
But
Facebook.
also on the web. So
Yeah.
money1055.com.
Oh, okay.
And then I think it's also part of some other network, but I'm not sure what it is.
All right. I should have looked. We got a little busy.
Eventually, Jerry. Yeah. All right, Jerry, can you hear me?
How are we supposed to do this?
Test, test. Test, test. Got me, Jerry? Okay.
Okay, so
John, go ahead.
I should talk.
Yep.
I just.
Go ahead.
I'm talking, but I just hear radio in my earphones. Okay. 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 That's you.
Number 3 is me. Okay, I see. And number 3 is this one testing. I'm just talking.
Okay. Okay. 3 minutes.
So exciting.
Have either of you been on radio before?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm originally from Spain, and
Uh-huh.
We have some also national radio interviews
Oh, okay.
there.
So you've been interviewed there?
But not many times. This is not something we
Big
use.
time. I mean, this is good.
But yes, once you discover the radio, it's like wow, different. And I used to hear a lot of radio when traveling, especially by car.
Right.
It's like the right moment to do it.
How about you, John?
It's been a long time since I've done radio because now we do all the video calls, so it's
Right.
different. I
Yeah.
like radio, but I haven't done any of them.
I know,
So
yeah.
it's all right. It's great.
Yeah.
No, just nice of you to invite us.
Oh, I'm glad you guys could join. Thank you so much.
No,
for doing
it's
this.
good.
Appreciate
The
it.
timing worked out good, and my day was relatively clear, so here we are. Yeah.
Good.
So,
And
yeah, it's
especially
fun.
at the beginning of the day is like perfect timing.
Okay.
Because you still can have.
Yeah. So you guys are in West Sac, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, my
That's where
office
we
is
have the lab and the office.
Okay.
my office is wherever I'm standing with my laptop, right? And
Which is the
have
way it
car
is
will,
now.
have car will travel,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And we're gonna go back fairly quickly after this because I have a little farm in Pleasant Hill where I live, and
Uh-huh.
I have a bunch of special needs kids coming today.
Oh,
so,
nice,
Yeah,
nice.
which is normal for me. I have a crew that helps me.
Okay.
So
So and Jerry will give me signals as we get closer to commercial break, and so
Okay.
when I flash fingers
okay.
at you guys, that's how many minutes are left. So
okay.
that's how I'll let you know. So,
Oh,
yeah.
all right. That's not a
And
hand.
then,
That's
yeah,
not.
hey.
That's not flipping.
Yeah, exactly. No, and when it's commercial time, he will go to commercial. So if we're in the
Mhm.
middle of conversation, it doesn't matter. So I'll, I do pretty good.
Oh,
job
I see.
managing
Try not
that,
to just
but
cut off in the middle.
yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, that's cool.
And you will start like presenting the show and presenting us and making.
Yeah,
questions,
I'll
and we
talk
just
about
start
me for a
talking.
couple minutes, kind of do an intro, and then we'll get into you guys. So I'm gonna let you guys go from there.
Oh, hopefully you also enjoy.
Yes, no, I think it's gonna be great.
I forgot. I used to do a sort of a radio show. We used WebEx to do it, but it was
Okay.
the same where I would interview somebody like John McLaughlin style and grill them
Okay.
for the sales. And we had like 300 salespeople that would listen to me. They loved it because I would, put the screws.
Right,
in,
right, yeah.
So
I'm nice. So.
no,
I don't put the
it was
screws
all
in.
in good fun. But I would interview the engineers and the salespeople would write me questions.
There's definitely an art to interviewing, though.
Yeah,
I've been doing this for
definitely.
5 years, and I've evolved, so I'm learning how to do it.
No, I think it takes a lot of skill. Are we supposed to be on?
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Numbers on Biome 1055 FM. I'm your host, Mark Bellows, of this weekly business talk show, bringing various business people from around the community here in Sacramento and greater environs talking about their business, who they are, hearing about their story. It's really kind of a chance to get to know people and what makes them successful. And in my day job, I'm a tax accountant, a CPA, and a principal with Clifton Larson Allen. CLA is a national firm with offices in pretty much most every state, including numerous ones here in California. And I'm in the Sacramento, or the Roseville office. That's right outside Sacramento. I worked with manufacturers and distributors, real estate investors and developers, contractors, all these types of businesses and their owners, tax planning, tax strategy, tax compliance, which we're just now getting the start of, this being mid-January, and we're getting started on doing 2018 tax returns and trying to figure out all the implications, or make sure all the implications are there for the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which was a significant tax change for everyone, and the IRS continues, even though it's closed, they continue to come out with new announcements on how to apply aspects of the law that haven't previously been figured out. So this is going to be a weird tax year, especially with the government shutdown. I think it's going to be a little delayed in a lot of ways, and so we'll see where that goes. So my guests this morning, I've got two gentlemen here from a company called Biome Makers. It's B-I-O-M-E, Biome Makers, and these guys will tell us in a minute what a biome is and does, and how they make it, I guess, as part of their company. So we've got the CEO and co-founder Adrian Ferrero.
Good morning, everybody.
Adrian, or how do you say your name?
Adrian.
Adrian.
Adrian Ferrero.
That's perfect.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And also John Matthesen, who's is it general manager, or what's your position?
General managers. We're a small company, so titles.
Yeah.
We do everything.
Pretty common as a starter, right? You're general manager, bottle washer, sweeper, vacuumer, do it all. Yeah. So, well, welcome. So maybe tell us a little bit about what a biome is and does.
Well, Biome Makers is a company that born in May 2015 in San Francisco, and since last year, it's a neighbor in the Sacramento community.
Okay, so you guys moved from San Francisco to Sacramento.
Yes.
So what is a biome?
A biome is the living part of an ecosystem.
Okay.
So the reason because we decided to name the company as Biome Makers is because we are looking at the living part of the life and trying to understand how this is impacting us, and specifically we try to understand how this is impacting farmers, growers, agriculture, and also all the food processing industry.
Which in California and Northern California, this area is huge.
It's huge.
It's a huge part of our economy, and we provide a lot of the countries in the world's agriculture. Mm-hmm. So this is a great place to be established, of course. So
exactly. And also there is this dimension that it was, let's say, hidden to our eyes, and is the fantastic world of the microbes, because microbes surrounded us, they are everywhere, and they are influencing in different ways, positive and negatively, the life and everything that we do. But not us, all the animals, or everything, any kind of process that happens in the earth. And now it's possible to know them, and it's possible to understand how they correlate, they coexist, and how they impact us. And that's what we are doing in Biome Makers.
Okay, so May 2015 got your start. So maybe Adrian, I'll start with you. What did you do before May 2015? How did you get involved in this, and what was your background before that?
So I'm economist, so Bachelor in Economic Science and Master in Environmental Technologies, and together with a friend from childhood, we were practicing judo together at the age of 5. So we decided to start running business together, and we started doing this in Spain, where we are originally from.
Is that where you did your schooling as well?
Yes,
okay.
Exactly. And we created the first genetic diagnostic center focusing on human diseases using the technology called DNA sequencing. DNA sequencing is a different way to read the DNA. Right. That allows us to get very useful information. In this case, we were looking at the DNA of humans to understand what is the predisposition to have hereditary diseases as cancer.
So was it specifically cancer? Any particular type of cancer you guys were looking
at? All kind of hereditary
okay.
diseases.
So looking at the DNA sequencing to try to find some predisposition.
Yeah, so we were helping doctors to recommend the best treatment. And this company was very successful. It's still working and doing a lot of work in Europe. and we were receiving many awards, but we realized that there was a possibility to use the same technology to provide value in agriculture, and specifically starting in the wine industry, because we know a lot about wine industry. Our families made wine back in Spain, not professionally, but it's very common that old families have their
Is that right? A
little
lot
cellar.
of families have a vat somewhere in the back.
In the
and
bathtub.
So, yeah, bathtub and some grapevines and
Exactly.
get to stomp every year. And okay.
So we just produce a couple of barrels
Uh-huh.
for our own consumption,
Okay.
which is enough. But what we realize is that the winemakers, they don't have enough information. They didn't have enough information about what was happening during the fermentation process related to the microbes, because at the end the fermentation is produced by mainly yeast and bacteria that interact with the grape juice.
Right.
So with this idea in our heads, we applied to an accelerator promoted by Illumina, the biotech giant based in San Diego, and we were the first non-American company selected by them, and that's when we made the backpack and came here to California and start building Biome makers. And 3 years after that, we have a team of 20 people and more than 400 clients, and still a lot of things to be done.
So May of 2015 is when you made the move from Spain to the U.S. and came to.
Exactly.
San Francisco.
The idea was together with the support of Illumina, develop and validate this technology and make some experiments with different wineries here in the Napa Valley, and we succeed. And at the end of the acceleration program, we closed a seed round of $2.2 million. And with that money, what we did is to build a team, improve the technology, and launch our first product, WineSync.
Which is, I mean, perfect place to do, right? You're by Silicon Valley, or as we were talking about earlier, kind of Silicon Valley in general, the whole Bay Area. You're by Napa, which is a phenomenal wine producing region, so it's a good place to come together for both of those.
Yeah, it was ideal because here what we found is on one hand the financial resources to do what we wanted to accomplish. On the other hand, we have the biotech ecosystem surrounding the Bay Area, which is very interesting, and all the IT technologies available for us to build or to combine DNA sequencing together with artificial intelligence to be able to understand and to build this machine to understand the microbes, how they impact us. And also we have the clients around us to make the validation.
So this was a childhood friend, so you came together to form Biome Makers?
Yeah.
I keep saying, is it Biome or Biome?
It depends on which language you read. So here in America, we'll say Biome Makers.
Okay, it sounded like you were saying Biome. So
Yes, because
okay.
he's still speaking Spanish.
Okay, we're going to go to commercial break. You're listening to Beyond the Numbers on Money 105.5 FM, part of the Wall Street Business Network. We're talking today with Adrian.
Perfect.
Adrian and John with Biome or BiomeMakers.com. We'll be right back.
So are we off?
For like a minute. It's a short.
Oh, and my name, I forgot to tell you, is Matthesen.
Okay, Jesus. All right, I gotta get that right.
Everyone gets it wrong.
Yeah.
So because my name is German. So my name is German, not Spanish. And by the way, you know I wasn't part of this.
Yeah.
You figured that out. I didn't come from Spain.
I figured. I'm not. But
Could you tell?
you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
Matthesen?
Yeah. I forgot.
I'm
No one cares.
I'm from. I have an Austrian.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah. Eckermann was my grandparents.
Really?
And so we came. That side of the family came at some point from Austria. My mom's been back there to see.
Really? I go there. I go to Austria pretty much every year, sometimes more than once. So
Really?
I've climbed all over Austria. We're both mountain climbers, so I've climbed.
And we're back. Listen to Beyond the Numbers on Money 105.5. I'm your host, Mark Bellows, tax principal with Clifton Larson Allen, CLA. I'm in the Roseville office. If you want to get a hold of me at the office, it's 916-784-7800, or you can email me at mark.bellows@claconnect.com. You can also go to our website to find out more. And so today we are talking with Adrian and John of Biomakers. And John, we heard a little bit about Adrian's story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's a little bit about your background. And it's
Sure.
I anglicized pronouncement is Matthesen, but it's German, which is Matthesen.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
So John, you're the general manager plus
right. So
many other things. But.
Right. I do a lot of things. It's a startup company, so
Yep.
of course we all wear many hats. So the title, who cares?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So we do it all. Wash the dishes.
Of course.
Everything.
Yeah.
Answer
yeah.
the phone. You know
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So, no, I have a ridiculous background. I started as a chef and worked my way up through things. Began to be a hotel manager. So I've done lots of hotel business, all that stuff. But at that time, computers were coming into hotels, so I got a little nosy with computers and took a slight detour into computer business. I thought I'd try that out. Went to a startup, and that little startup went all the way to IPO. So I did that. So I lived and worked all over the world with that one. Then I went with the founders.
It's always interesting to go
Yeah.
through. I mean, I've never
Well,
been in a company that's gone IPO, but I've worked with one that's gone IPO, and it can be a heck of a process.
It
It's
was
very time intensive.
amazing.
It's like your life.
Well, we went in 4 years. We went from about 100 people to 8,000 people,
It's
and
incredible growth,
yeah,
yeah.
just that. Well, welcome to Silicon Valley, right?
Yeah.
That was
What type of business was that?
that was called Sybase. That was back in the days when database was a new thing.
Okay.
Oracle and Sybase were
Okay.
competitors.
Okay.
So anyway, I did it, and then I went with the founders and did another one that went zero to startup, or startup to IPO. So I've really done a lot of tech stuff.
So
And
then your second one went IPO
yeah,
as well?
uh-huh,
What was that
yeah.
one?
That was called Commerce One, and that was early on B2B marketplace. That was new, so I
Yeah.
helped create a lot of the products for that.
Okay.
I went to night school at UC Berkeley and learned how to be a network engineer and a product designer and all kinds of things. So I got very, very steeped in high tech. That's Silicon Valley way, right?
So were you driving back and forth across the bridge?
I
or
was.
At night to go to school? Or?
Yes, life was hell, but it
Yeah.
was also super interesting
Of
because
course,
my
yeah.
teachers at Berkeley were the ones who were inventing stuff that then went into
Wow.
production. So I got to go back to the computer room during the day and try stuff out. So it was fantastic.
Fascinating,
I loved it.
yeah.
So it worked out well, and then some years after that, I worked at a VC because this is what you do after you go with companies. So I worked in China, I worked in Beijing at a Chinese VC, learned to speak Chinese, learned all kinds
Is
of
it
things.
Mandarin,
Yeah,
or-
Mandarin is what you speak in
Okay.
Beijing.
Okay.
So don't ask me to speak
No,
Chinese.
no.
on radio.
But that took a while to learn. I mean, I would think it did it. I shouldn't assume.
No, it's hard.
It's a challenging language.
It's very challenging for Westerners,
Right.
but I had great teachers also at UC Berkeley, so it was a blast. I loved it, and so yeah, whirlwind. And then I just realized I was looking for what's the next frontier, and I realized the intersection of food, agriculture, and technology was really where it was going to be at, and it's where I wanted to be at.
Mhm.
So I somehow there's many stories after that, but I co-founded a group called Silicon Valley Ag Tech with my partner Roger Royce, and that's where we met. I think was through that. So we bring in all kinds of people who are doing ag tech and food tech, and we get to meet them, and we have a big convention, and that's coming up on May 13th. If you're interested,
Okay.
I'll give you the link for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great way, and I'm so excited about the whole ag and food tech industry. It is the thing that's sort of next on investments for people. It's the horizon that untapped, and it's also where I personally want to be. I mean, I just woke up one day and said, I don't want my legacy to be getting you to buy more stuff on the internet, right? That's plenty of people working on that already. We know who they are. I wanted to have something more meaningful to the planet. So I did that. I founded a little farm in the town where I live, Pleasant Hill. So I have a little 2-acre urban farm.
And what do you farm there?
We do vegetables there. I haven't got to wine yet. We're working on that. But I know a lot about the wine industry because I've been a chef in the restaurants and the hotels, and I also teach part-time at a culinary school, Diablo Valley College in Pleasant Hill. So I get to use my chef skills, my tech skills, my farm skills. I'm like, this is the perfect opportunity for me.
Yeah,
I love it, absolutely. Every day I'm doing just what I want to do.
That's great. A great marriage of all the things you do.
Yeah,
into
yeah,
one.
and we can make an impact on the planet, the economy. It's it's just what I want to do.
So Adrian and his co-founder, they came here in May of 2015 and got started here. How long after that till you found them and started working with them?
I don't know. When did we start?
Something like June last year.
Yeah, I guess something like that. We've been sort of talking and working a little bits, and then I dipped my toes got too far into the pool and I fell in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all right. I love it.
So you guys come together. You eventually developed. Well, eventually, right now you have your first.
Yeah. So
walk us through how you got from where there to Wine Seek.
Yeah, so in essence, what we provide or what we have developed is a microbial surveillance tools that allows farmers to know, well, first what is happening in the field, and we use the soil as a biosensor to track this activity and to understand what is the function that the soil has. Specifically, when we talk to a vineyard, there is 4 dimensions that are interesting. First is the biodiversity, so how alive that field is, and that has been impacted by the practices that you have been deploying in the last years. The second dimension is the health of the vineyard, so the threats of having diseases, what is the risk, so you can prevent and start reacting. You know which kind of biocontrol or policemen you have in that field that create resistance for the plants. You can also know what are the hormone producers, the plant growth promoters that will increase and boost the flowering and everything in the plant. And the third dimension is the nutritional pathways. So you can be feeding the field with a lot of nutrients or fertilizers, but you need microbes to mobilize those nutrients to the plants. Yep. So we are able to tell them if those channels, those pathways are enabled or not, or blocked. Okay, and the fourth dimension that is specifically for wine industry is the fermentative potential. And you might hear about terroir, which is like the regional flavors that you might find in a wine while drinking it. So those regional flavors are linked to the vineyard because there are some fermentative species living there that at the harvest time will travel to the grape skin, will attach there, and in the cellar, when you crush the grapes, those yeasts will start doing their work and leaving their aroma path or fingerprint that somehow you will find it in the wine.
So, how does it? You said it's sensing and it's checking this stuff for the farm.
You want let's back up and we'll simplify for maybe
not
not everyone knows.
Well,
we kind of, because we're in California, we kind of assume that a lot of people know a lot about wine and a lot about farming, and that isn't always the case.
Right.
So just to bring it back a little, there's dirt, which is inert, nothing.
Yes.
And then there's soil. Soil is full of living organisms, trillions.
See, that distinction's good. It's good for our listeners to hear. Yeah. So it's in dirt and soil.
I teach college.
Yeah, that's good. That's right.
So dirt is inert. Soil is a royal with life, and there's trillions. Every cup of soil has trillions of bacteria and fungi living in it. Now, it used to be, you'd say bacteria, germs kill, get rid of them, you don't want them. But it turns out with all this advanced science, bacteria and fungi are so essential to all things of life that you have to have it. Now the question comes, which bacteria, which fungi, which are good guys, which are bad guys? Most of them are good guys. Our entire bodies are full. We couldn't digest if we didn't have bacteria. You've probably heard about the gut microbiome. Well, we're working on the soil microbiome. Same thing. Plants have to have the critters in the soil to eat. The critters in the soil release the minerals in a way we call it bioavailable to the plant. So our tools investigate who's down there, how are they working, are they happy, are they unhappy, are they doing their job the right way, and do you need more of them or less of them, do you have pathogens? So that's really how to think about it. But you think about, I talk about, plants digesting. It would be the same thing if you took pasta and rubbed it on your arm and tried to digest it. You couldn't. You put it in here.
Right.
It goes in and meets the microbes, and we all work together. It's a big happy community. The soil and the plants are exactly the same. Their digestive systems start in the soil with the critters. We count them using incredible, sophisticated technology called DNA sequencing. So that's the best way.
Adrian's background.
Right.
That's where that brought it into
I'm just here to translate.
I see that I became very technical, so that's perfect.
No, this is great.
That's why I'm the college teacher.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it's okay. I let him be a guest speaker in the class.
That's fascinating.
But yeah,
for sure.
so that's really the element of how it works, and so we're using something that's way beyond microscopes to look into the soil and figure out who's there.
So does the farmer have a display of some sort? A
Yes.
dashboard or
Yeah, we get a cool dashboard. We have amazing reports that are very visual. We have a portal where they can go in and look at stuff and play with things. They can map their vineyards out, all kinds. It's amazing stuff.
How close, if you will, are the sensors? Is it every 10 feet, every 20 feet?
So
is it every 5 feet?
when he says the sensors, he's talking about the bacteria.
Yeah,
We use
okay.
the bacteria as microsensors. So there's trillions everywhere. So what we do is we go and pick up samples.
Okay,
out
so you
of-
sampled. Okay.
Yes.
So is it not a real time?
No, it
Load.
takes a lot of work
Okay.
too. So we
Gotcha.
take it out, we do stuff to it, and then we read it.
Okay.
Is that?
Yeah,
So is
this
that
is
you
what-
guys have to do the taking out and reading? Is that something
No, the
that-
farmer, the
Okay,
grower, the
farmer.
vintners, they send us the samples.
Okay.
Then we do the magic. We
Okay.
do it. That's-
Exactly. We receive the samples in our lab that is in West Sacramento, and that's where all the magic happens. And once we generate this data or digital data, we digitalize all the microbes that live in the soil. Then we compute this information together with other parameters as, for instance, climate or type of soil and the kind of crop, and then deliver the results in a very cool portal where people can just see the results in a handheld device.
At what point in the growing cycle do the farmers do this, or do they typically do it throughout the year?
Throughout the year, anytime is a good time. There are even better times than others. Like actually right now is a great time because you want to find out, you want to get ahead of things in your field before it becomes growing season.
And when is growing season for grapes?
Well, in California, it's 12 months out of the year.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we live in a magic place
Yes,
here,
yes.
but
The
we're working.
vegetative cycle of the plant starts now in spring.
And does it vary by type of grape?
Not
really.
directly linked to the type of grape, but linked to the type of crop. And that's the other thing that we are doing already, like replicated technology to have it available for any crop.
Right, we're not just wine guys.
Okay.
So yeah, we have all crops, but wine is very specific.
Right,
And the individual varietals of grapes, we have many results that are specific to those. So we do work with the flavors and how that's all going to work out.
Okay.
But at a grander level, grapes, corn, soy, wheat,
And all kinds of trees
It's all-
are also very useful.
almond
So at the end,
trees.
what we want
Row crops?
people
Row
also.
crops?
Absolutely.
Are those all row crops? You call that row crops?
Well, yeah, it depends on which part of the country you're from. But
Okay.
Yeah.
But they're not tree fruits.
Well, we're actually working with
You said
almonds.
almonds, so which is this area?
We've I've just gotten a big request for cacao.
Okay.
So all kinds of things.
And that is our commercial notification. We're going to go to commercial. We'll be right back. You're talking or listening to Beyond the Numbers on Monday 105. Bye.
Yep. So are we doing okay?
I think you're doing great.
Okay, good.
How do you feel? How's it
Too
feel?
technical?
Yeah.
Okay, now I think we should go more into the practical part. So
Perfect.
what is for the client? So
Yeah,
what's the
what
goal?
happens?
Well, I was going to go into, you've developed a wine seek, maybe, you said with 200 customers or 400?
400.
400 customers, so maybe kind of talk about how that's evolved, and then maybe some of the other things you're looking at doing. So
Okay.
if you want, is that kind of
That's fine. Yeah, I think,
application?
are we counting 600 wineries? That's what's on our website, I think.
Yeah, because the
There's
clients,
multiple wineries, yeah.
all the
So-
validation that we have done, I don't count them as clients, but yeah, we have relationships.
Vineyards, yeah. And
Also, maybe we could talk about like the first, not necessarily the name, but the first vineyard and how it worked, or how you kind of got.
Mhm.
Sure, I'll let you.
Okay, perfect.
Who was the
There are
first?
plenty of examples.
Yeah, and I can talk about other projects I'm working on with wheat and even bananas. Hopefully, so we'll get all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. So some parts of the country consider row crops a different thing than other parts.
I'm not sure about the word, to be honest. Who uses that word? Some call them. There's row crops and what's the word? Truck vegetables or whatever.
There is also permanent crops.
Yeah.
That is, but if you always plant the same corn in field, it becomes permanent. So
Okay.
when you see, so row crops are for those kind of, because if you look at the trees here, they are also in rows.
Yeah. Well, I had a client years ago up in Woodland, and he grew tomatoes, safflower, was trying to get in some cotton, I think. But anyway, and it seemed like he called those. That was row crops.
Yeah, but like when you talk to somebody in Pennsylvania or Iowa, they do have a little bit regional dialect verbs and names of things. So I don't want to stake my life on what they're going to call it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But probably not too many people in Pennsylvania will hear this radio show, but
you never know. We could have a huge following in Pennsylvania.
I hope so. Or South America, where we're working, or Spain, or Italy, or
anywhere.
We have stuff everywhere. Vineyards all over Europe.
The cool thing is that we can receive soil from anywhere in the world, and having some basic metadata like where the location of the block and the crop and the soil and so on, we can access to open data worldwide, and we can deliver the results from anywhere. And importing the soil, because we destroy and the lab is secure and everything, so that's very interesting.
Is there any issue with the state bringing in the soil? I mean,
we're licensed. We're especially
licensed
for it. Yeah, if you want to ask about that, but yeah, you have to be.
I would imagine because the state's pretty protective about that.
The country is.
Even between states and in the state. So if you're receiving soil from South California, then
that's true too, because they don't want something to come up here from there.
Right.
And we have to report if we see pathogens. We have to report them.
Okay.
Anonymously, we have to report.
Interesting.
Right, but yeah, we're careful and we're licensed.
Church.
Cool.
And we're back. You listen to Beyond the Numbers on my 105.5. I'm your host, Mark Bellows. This is a weekly business talk show where we bring in various business people from around the area that are doing some interesting things and get to hear their story and their backgrounds. And that's what we're doing today. I am also a tax principal, CPA with Clifton Larson Allen in the Roseville office. And if you have questions or concerns about your taxes, you want to get started on them, you haven't got started on them, you don't know how to get started on them, give me a call, 916-784-7800, or email me at mark.bellows@claconnect.com. And today I've got two guests here from a company called Biome Makers, and it's Biome makers.com if you want to get more information on them. Nice mobile app, by the way, or mobile website, and it's good. Yeah, so a lot of times it's not always the case, but yours it flows nicely. So, but you can take a look at their website, find out more about them. There's all kinds of stuff on there about some of the awards they've been given and some of the things they're doing and the products. Well, I think you can even order. Look like you could order online if you want to get it. So, so we've got Adrian Ferrero, who's one of the co-founders and CEO, and he's Adrian at biomemakers.com. Biomemakers.com. And you've also got John Matthesen, John Matthesen, I almost had it. And you can email him at John, John, at biomemakers.com as well. So, what we talk a lot about is stuff off the air between the commercial break, and there's tons of things that would be great to talk about. So let's maybe talk about, you come here May 15, you're getting started with your co-founder, you're taking DNA sequencing that you were working on in Spain and trying to apply it here to the ag industry and wine specifically, because you guys both came from wine families. John and his Silicon Valley Ag Tech met up with you guys a month later. So how did you get from there to the first client or customer?
Well, during the development of the technology, we did a lot of validation, and we were already working with the industry. But we were very surprised in the moment how quick people start talking to each other and communicating. So having the first client was very easy because it was the friend of one of the wineries we were doing the validation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. And so you started with that. Now you've grown to
around 400 clients, and we have worked so far for around 600 different players.
Different vineyards and different
And it's
different places
throughout the world,
That's
right,
throughout
as you
the world.
mentioned. So it's not just in Napa Valley.
No,
Exactly.
not at all. Yeah, we're Spain, Italy, France. We do a lot in France, of course,
Yep.
as well as here.
Yep, yep. Southern California as well, you said, and so and other parts of the U.S. We go grapes in other places other than just
Oregon,
California.
Washington State.
Test question for my culinary class: how many
Mhm.
states in the United States is wine produced in now? An
Mhm.
easy answer.
50.
Yeah, 50.
Is that right?
Every state. Yeah. I haven't had Alaskan wine yet, but they do make it.
Interesting. They have a short. Well, you could grow in the inside.
It's
again,
hot
so,
there.
Yeah.
No, they have
I think
hot
it's-
summers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely hot summers.
So,
So the process is that. So do you when you get a new customer, do you go out to their place and meet with them and show them how to take the soil samples?
sometimes.
Actually, it's not necessary because the sampling process is very easy. What we are looking for is to get a soil microbiome sample, and you just go in field. Anybody can do it. You just dig a little bit deeper, something between 12 inches or around 12 inches, and you collect soil in different spots all around the block. So you
Nice.
get a representation of the population of the
And they
microbes.
label. Presumably, they would label it because you could have
Yeah.
different results depending
Right.
on where it's at.
We actually send you some really cool sterilized tubes that have a little spoon in it and everything, so it's a whole kit. So
Nice, nice.
it's very sophisticated.
Like other sampling kits. So that's
It's
good.
just like other sampling kits.
And then you use our app to just take a picture in field, and with that picture we geolocate the sample,
Okay.
and then we access to a huge amount of information that we use to process the results and to make to deliver the impact of the microbes.
And was I correct in my assumption that depending on, the field could have different results in different areas?
Absolutely.
And so
Yeah.
that can guide them, a farmer or a grower, to determine,
Yeah.
to make decisions based
Absolutely.
on what the soil is like.
Absolutely. There's an amazing picture of what's going on, and if you have a larger vineyard or a farm, you do find variations in it, and we help the farmers and the growers work with that. We had, the one in Spain where there was a vineyard that had a good plot and a bad plot. We looked at it, found a pathogen, and found also that in the good plot, the biome, the microorganisms were able to, on their own, suppress the pathogen. On the bad lot, not yet. So we're gonna work with them on how to make that good in both places. So it's the kind of thing we can see that you can't see with your naked eye. But
Of course,
we can reveal that through our special technology. So it's pretty amazing, really.
So and that's all part of WineSeek?
That particular one is, but it's really the same technology if you're doing corn or wheat or we're working with a lot of things. So we just got we're working on reports actually this morning for bananas in Ecuador. I've been working with, and that's amazing. And so soybeans in Brazil. I'm working with a guy in Washington on wheat. I'm talking to a guy in Pennsylvania who's a cover crop master, and we're working with all of his stuff and how that's going to work.
Cover crop.
Oh, sorry, cover crop. Do you know?
No, I don't.
Okay, cover crop is not something to cover, but it is. Growers usually plant things in between crops that they want to harvest for sale. So you plant various plants to restore the soil.
Okay.
So you typically do beans and peas and things that put nitrogen back into the soil. So it's a natural kind of a fertilizing machine. in
Gotcha.
general. So
And that's what a cover crop is.
that's what a cover crop
Okay.
is. And there's some more to it, but that's close enough.
Okay.
It's a technique that many farmers use to enrich the life of the soil and the nutrient capacity for the plants that they are growing.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah, and the good thing is that last year, after doing the validation and launching WineSeek, we decided just to start expanding to other crops. And because WineSeek is very specific for the wine industry, we have delivered a new brand that is called B Crop. And we are doing crop by crop because any solution has to be crop specific. But we are increasing the number of crops very quick. I mean, and right now I think we are covering around 30 different crops.
Wow.
So this is growing, and is the demand the one encouraging us to create new crops. So if we have growers asking for almonds, that was the moment we decided just to start doing the solution specifically for almonds.
Right.
And we can replicate it in just 1 week, which is very quick.
So I was going to ask, what's the turnaround? So farmer will get samples of the soil, send it to you guys, and then you guys can turn it around within
The average time is 3 weeks.
Okay.
In 3 weeks, we are able to tell them everything that is happening in the soil, and that's amazing because at the end, when we talk about agriculture and planification of inputs in farming, that they spend a lot of money, by the way, and this money is not always efficient. So still they lose a lot of value in the crop because they were not using the right fertilizing policy, or they were using some crop protection products that they didn't need, but they were not using the ones they need. And that's how we can help them to optimize the use of the inputs, all the inputs that they use. And if they want to know specifically the effects of a new product or a new practice that they are using in field, we can also tell them by comparing different moments.
Right.
And that's new because nobody were questioning the real effects of fertilizer. And now that we have more and more biofertilizers and there is a new wave of products, well, farmers actually don't know which one is the right one for them,
Right.
and which one is the one that is going to work. That's the second question.
And how much.
Mm-hmm.
So we can really help. So we've moved from spray and pray to really understanding what's happening.
Yeah,
and
really.
that's just amazing to get to that knowledge, because you may need less water, more water. You may need a lot less fertilizer, or you may need a particular kind of thing to adjust. So instead of just pouring stuff on and generally broadcast shooting at things, now we can be very, very targeted and in the right amounts at the right time. That's a big deal.
And that's what you guys.
That's what we bring to the table.
And so you had mentioned like a 12-inch sample. Is that 12-inch deep?
Deep. Yeah.
So does that vary depending on crop? Like, would it make sense to go? Do you have to go deeper on other ones versus, or is that going to be good?
We have done a lot of validation and experiments on the different possibilities to identify or to be able to capture the most interesting community of microbes, giving us as much information as possible. So that's crop specific, but there is some similarities. I mean, if you compare an almond tree with an apple tree, at the end the sampling methodology is pretty similar. We don't want to go to the rhizosphere because then we'll be just like sampling the nutritional microbes.
Right.
So we want to know everything that is impacting the crop itself, and that's a little bit far from the plant, and then a little bit behind the surface.
Okay. Okay.
Deeper.
Yeah.
There's more to discuss. We'll be here all day giving minutes.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So B crop is the newest.
It's
BE,
the newest
B
BE crop. It's just the same technology
Sure.
brought forward to. So we still want to specialize in wine because they have some particular parameters for wine. We work with something called an organoleptic profile, which is the flavor profile. That's a bit unique to wine, although I'm kind of hoping to move that into the food cycle too, because realistically,
could apply there.
Food has flavor.
Yeah.
And so I keep telling people I want to bridge that gap from soil to Cheerios. There's a missing understanding there, and I'm working on it.
Well,
so.
good, John. Let's keep going. We're going to take a break. When we get back, we'll continue the conversation. We're talking today with Adrian and John of Biome Makers. We'll be right back.
So that's amazing. Our time is going quickly.
It really, people are always surprised how fast time flies.
Yeah, it does. Well, that's fun.
Come in thinking, wow, what are we going to talk about for an hour? And then
Yeah.
next thing you know, the hour's going like, wow.
I think we could be here all day. We have good stories.
Yes, you do. So I was going to say maybe talk about the move from San Francisco.
Yeah, we should talk
Sacramento.
Locale,
You're
jobs,
growing,
economy.
jobs.
Yeah,
economy, that's what
I'd like to. I think we
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Maybe
perfect.
talk about mountaineering if you want a little bit of.
Yeah.
Are you both?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah. Which was not known until we met, and we were like, oh yeah.
Actually, it was by looking at the WhatsApp picture.
Oh, that's
we
right.
realized
That's right.
that
Because it's on my phone. That's me climbing on that wall there. You saw. I think you saw my phone or something, and went, oh, look, they can do that. So yeah.
Even something else in common.
It's not very common in the company. I mean, the rest of the people, well, they like, but it's not like focus.
I do. I already got my tickets booked for this summer.
Nice. We're back. You're listening to Beyond the Numbers on My 1055. Your host here, Mark Bellows with Clifton Larson Allen, CLA, a national CPA firm with offices throughout the U.S., including one in Roseville, which is where I reside. I'm a tax principal, work with manufacturers and distributors, real estate investors and developers, contractors, all those types of businesses, their owners, planning, tax strategy, that sort of thing, tax compliance. And so if you want to get a hold of me at the office, 916-784-7800 or mark.bellows@claconnect.com. And today we're talking with Adrian and John of Biome. So you guys started in San Francisco, which near the Silicon Valley, perfect place to be. What prompted the move to West Sacramento?
Well, a necessity, because we needed to grow and we needed a lab that were able to digest all the samples, so we need to scale up. And we were lucky that we got in touch with Greater Sacramento Economic Council, and they introduced us to all facilities that you can find around in Davis, Sacramento, and so on. And finally, we decided to apply or to partner with Bayer and share some space in their new AgTech space for startups. So we are renting lab space in West Sacramento, and the lab is state-of-the-art for genetic testing. We have all the permits from the USDA to process soil, and everything is done in a very secure and qualitative basis. So we're very happy. That's the reason because we decided to move.
Okay, and we talked a little bit about this earlier off air, I think it was, but so you have the permits from FDA,
USDA.
USDA to be able to test the soil. And it's in California as well, right? I mean, there are issues with someone sending a sample of a Brazilian soil or a Pennsylvania soil. I mean, any soil outside
not really issues, but you have to be certified.
I'm sorry, issues, but you have to be able to, you have to check.
We're
them.
licensed to accept those, and the government has us on file, and we send permits. It comes in with the sample. So.
But when you get a sample, there's no delay. They don't have to. There's no one that looks at it from the government.
Actually, they do look at it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it goes in. It goes into what's called an ag inspection station.
Okay.
And they're all over the country.
So it does go through that.
Yeah, it does, and they actually look.
How long does that get?
That's usually very quick. I was surprised.
One day.
Yeah,
That's
one
nice.
day. Even over the Christmas holiday, they processed the banana samples from Ecuador, and it came in quite surprisingly.
Yeah, actually, because they know that the final destination of the sample is our lab, and they know how we are going to process and use the sample that in essence is not very big, so the threat is not huge.
Yeah.
But still, we have to be fully secure. We have to take all the hazardous measures to be sure that nothing happens and everything's under control.
Yeah, and so the space you're in West Sac, Bayer space, there's other ag tech companies there?
Yeah, there are another two companies,
Okay.
two startups, and we share the space, of course. And we love collaborations. That's something that is in our DNA too. And a co-working space where you can share experience, where you can also talk about problems. And we're startups, we're starting, and we are growing very fast. And probably the problem that you have to solve 4 months ago, now is the problem that the other company is facing.
Right.
So the experience sharing is very important.
Yeah, it's huge. Co-working spaces are big, especially in the startup area, because you can share ideas.
And the biotech world, that's even more important.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a great location for us. It's rich with more agriculture here than like if you're in San Francisco, and to be in the grander Silicon Valley Bay Area. If you want to be an ag tech, there's Salinas, great spot, and I have a lot of friends down there that work with them. But up here, since we also have a lot of wine business, guess what? We're close to Napa, Sonoma, all the things north of here, Yolo County, all the things. This is, for us, this is a really ideal location.
And you've got access to, or your proximity to UC Davis,
Exactly.
which is a great school.
And the good thing is a lot of talent.
Yeah,
because something that most of the startups, as they start growing, needs is talent people for the team, and that's something we are always looking for.
So you guys started, when you started it, how many employees was it, you and your co-founder?
Yes, two.
And now you've grown to 20, right? And you need more.
22? Are we 22 now? 21, I don't know. So
20, and you need more.
We would like to have more.
So here's the chance for all of our listeners and everybody watching. Here's the chance for you to apply for a job if you want. So
no, it's fine. We would like to have some resumes. We have a sort of a plan on growing, and We need help with local marketing. We need lots of help with sales because I'm doing most of the sales, and there's only one of me, and there's a hell of a lot of stuff around here. So we gotta do a lot of sales. So we need all kinds of people and tech people too.
Business development, that's something we are going to do probably in the next weeks, and also some lab people for the lab, geneticists.
So these resumes, as they come flowing in, where do you want them to go? Do you want them to go to John?
I'm pointing
Well,
at him.
in our website, there is a section for jobs, so
Perfect.
you can just write jobs at biomemakers.com.
Okay, so jobs at biomemakers.com.
Right, that's better, and then we'll all take a look at them.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
So-
I'm the one receiving those emails,
Okay.
so it's very
Of
easy. You
course,
just
because
get
you have to wear all the hats in the startups. You got to do it all.
That's right.
So you guys, in addition to, of course, the company, but you also are both mountaineers,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So maybe tell us a little bit about that. Something you do in your fun, something fun
Yeah,
to do in your
no,
off time.
we discovered we both have an interest in climbing. I do actually, oddly enough, I usually go to Europe to do my climbing because I like it there.
Right.
And I usually go into an area called the Dolomites and also Austria. I've climbed all over those countries extensively, and I just absolutely love it. And I go in the summer and I work on a farm in Italy. I pretend to work. I actually go mountain climbing. So it's great fun.
Sounds
And
like a
I'm
good
hoping to
gig.
get to Spain because there's a lot of stuff I haven't climbed in Spain, and we gotta do that. So.
Yeah, there are some colleges there that will be happy to take you. Well, on my side, because I've been climbing mountains all around Europe, now is the time to discover the mountains here,
Yes,
California
yes, yeah.
and Colorado. I'm very surprised. I really love it. The nature is completely different. I would say it's wild. It's more wilder than in Europe.
Okay.
So you can find more animals, which is somehow more interesting.
Yeah, it is different. I didn't say I'm a native to Colorado, so we're in a tour guide there too. So I've
And did you go to Colorado? You see?
I went to Boulder. So
Yes, I went to Boulder as well.
Oh, did you really?
In 80, I was 83.
Good team.
Yeah, 83 to 87.
Oh, I was
in
a
the
little
business
before
school,
that.
so yeah.
Yeah.
So you're originally from?
Yeah, I'm born and raised in Colorado.
Okay.
I went to school in Boulder, and then I worked at a place called Keystone in the mountains, if you know
Uh-huh.
that. So
Yep.
yeah, I helped build a lot of that. So
Nice.
so anyway,
So
yeah.
are you a skier then as well?
Yeah, since about 6 years old. I
Okay.
think, so
Did you ever take up snowboarding, or did you stick with?
you know, I
downhill
did a
skiing?
little bit, but I got into cross country skiing. 'cause
Cross country's great.
I just love, after working in the ski industry for a long time, I got kind of tired of that. So
Uh-huh.
I like being out by myself, blazing a trail. I also like the skate skiing too. It's just fantastic.
What's skate skiing?
That's where you power through. You have shorter cross country
Okay,
skis,
okay.
and you watch it on the Olympics. It's
Okay, I've seen that.
yeah, it's the best exercise ever if you want to get in shape. Yeah.
Now, where do you cross country ski here?
Here I like places like Royal Gorge is
Okay,
great.
yep, yep.
It's not far away from here. I like a place in Austria called Leutasch, just in case you're going that way.
Okay.
So also great. But yeah, Royal Gorge is probably one of the best. But there's places up here.
And are you also a skier, Adrian?
Yeah, I am, but I'm not very passionate about it.
Okay.
So I prefer just to take the backpack and disappear.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's always good.
Snowshoeing is good too, right?
Yeah, I like
plus
snowshoeing.
there's
Good stuff.
snowshoeing is
So,
good, too.
you guys got started and you had to get money, right? So
Mm.
you've done pitches, right? I mean, tell us a little bit about how that process, because we've had some people on the show before that talk about it, but
That's
when
perfect.
you're pitching for your money from
Mhm.
potential investors.
Yeah, well, this is something that most of the startups, especially at the development stage, before the monetization phase arrives, and need some resources.
Mhm.
And for that, you just start talking to investors and ask them to share their resources in exchange to some equity. And this happening is very intense. You
Yeah.
have to do many pitches. I mean,
Yeah, that's the thing. You have to be okay with. It's not failure. It's not the right word. It's a whole experience. It's a process you go through. And you hear a lot of no's before you get a yes, typically.
Typically,
And you got to be okay with that. And you got to refine your pitch.
But I would say that most of the investors, when they say no, they qualify their answer, and at the end they provide some feedback that
Which
is
is
always
great.
useful.
Yeah, that's
Every
great.
pitch is useful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's good.
But-
Yeah, I actually coach pitching at UC Berkeley in
Okay.
my school I've been doing. So that's going on too. But yeah, we pitch everywhere. You got to do it. You just got to keep doing it and doing it and doing it.
Yeah. I had the opportunity to listen to some, be part of the panel up in Chico a few years ago on some stuff, and so it's a great process.
Well, the Silicon Valley Ag Tech in May. I think the link is SV Ag Tech. But anyway, that's a pitch session too.
It was very curious because as you practice pitching, at the end you get better and better, and you identify the best points and the right points to pitch. And last year in Japan, we were invited to an event by Nikkei, the communication company, and we won the competition, the pitching competition.
Congratulations.
So we have many good experiences.
Yeah.
But when you pitch like in a small table to investors, then it's different because then you can become more like straight on numbers, on market potential, and successful.
So we've got about a minute or minute and a half left. So where are we going? What's next? You've got B crop that you're starting to introduce.
So the next is to monetize the technology. We are already selling. B crop has been available since 1st of January.
Okay.
And there is this product evaluation program that is called Biome. Okay, that's
G-H-E-O-M.
Yeah, we are selling that by talking to different agronomists because they advise. So that's what is next. Be successful in the market.
Well, we need funding. We need team. We're gonna grow.
Well, John Matthesen and Adrian Ferrero, thank you both for being on the show. This is Biome Makers, Biome makers.com. You listen to me on the numbers. We'll be out next week. Thanks, everybody.
Great.
Cool.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Sorry, my phone's going crazy.